I want to let us know today that the first law of motion says something, that every object must ascertain the point of inertia, which is rest, until an internal or an external force is being acted onto that thing before it will move. How do I mean? We have seen great men and tell us that no matter how far or how high you think you're gifted or talented, talents and gifts, they are not enough. Somebody that is not as gifted as you are might make money more than you that is so gifted. What is your reading? Go back to your roots. When I talk about root here, go back to that thing that gives you every sense of purpose. Until you go back to that root, then it will be very difficult to even talk about a voice that you want to find. Everyone seated here today, we do have a voice. But the thing is this: how far can your voice be heard? A very young man was seated, and they told the parents that this person is unteachable. That's the worst thing you can talk about for anybody. Somebody can be dull and they will teach the person. But when somebody is said to be unteachable, means that it is finished. The mom looked at the very young man and told him, they said, you're unteachable. The young man looked at himself and said, you people said so, but who I see and what I see is different. How do I mean? Sometimes people look at your reading and forget that there is a root that you're coming from. And most times the root is not seen. You don't see the root until you uproot. And sometimes that root can be deceptive. The mom looked at him and said, you can't do anything. But this young man knew that there's a voice he can find. And this voice is not, nobody tells you the voice. The voice is something you get from your root. They looked at him and said, you can't do anything. He said, no problem. The root you're coming from told you. The root I know did not tell me. After some years, the same young man was also said again that he should go back. Today, the first medical neurosurgeon to separate Siemens twins was once told that he is not teachable. Until today, he wrote a book and said, The Gifted Hands, Dr. Ben Carson. They said he's not teachable. I have 25 minutes, but just listen to me. The person who enjoyed today that there is nothing you can think about in this world and you will use it. One day at the garage, the parents looked at him and said, this is what you can do. He didn't say anything. They now saw him go to the family library and they looked at him. And the parents now came in again and they left the library. He went to sit down and he began to think. And the mother came. Most times, creative people, when you connect to your root, some persons might not understand you. That is why I can be looking at you, you think I'm looking at you. No. There is something from the root that is telling me that a white and a black can be applied to physics for the crest and the throw. I can sit down and I'll keep you, something is written there, but what I see is different from what is being said. I might be looking at you, and all I'm saying is this: how can we refabricate AI to start giving us our own content that is evil? How do we convert ChatGPT that each time you bring up a particular thing, it starts telling you some things. I am looking at you, or maybe that's when I'm connected to the root. And every root is invalid until you understand the place of purpose. The mother came and was disturbing him. They thought, you're far gone, why are you hallucinating? And he looked at the mom and said, Mother, can't you think? And today, everybody celebrates the man called Bill Gates. Why am I here today? I'm only here to charge the creatives. I'm here to charge the creatives. We are in a global world. A world that is so interconnected. A world where everywhere is a village. A world where cultural identification is such a great thing and wealth. Can I ask you a question? How much is good chain worth? Like, how much is this your chain? And if the Jesus wouldn't just fabricate one big money. 500K. Good. So that thing is worth 500,000. Back. Now let me shock you. When we say going back to the roots, as creatives, we should know what we mean. If you don't know the reason for a thing, it becomes so useless and invalid. Anything you're not passionate about, you can never thrive in that thing. Every time I see so many persons ask me a particular question, why is it that you don't practice? Because I was pushed in by my parents. That was not my area of flow. My area of flow has been in the communication and conceptual role. I can look at you, what you're putting on now, and I will tell you, if we make a fabric from the mixture of that foam, it will be very nice. Until you come to that place of purpose, every other thing is as good as useless. To be rooted in reading simply means a place of purpose. How do you find your voice? It's not just enough to find the voice, but how do you amplify the voice in a global village? Don't you understand, my friends? Every nation sat down. A country that they looked down on one day, they now said, because of business ventures, everybody needs to learn Chinese. How does that sound to you? We need to learn Chinese because that is where the economic hub is. There was a time in our primary school, they tell you, you must pass French. What is the social economic benefit of French to what I'm doing? At a point, they pay French teachers far higher than Igbo and Yoruba teachers. I know some of us, if they tell you, oh, I'm in Igbo education, you look at them, what is Igbo education? Original Igbo. But if it is, oh, I'm a lawyer, an engineer, you brag. Can I tell you, language teachers are far more wealthier than doctors. Yes. Language teachers. Do you know today, people in the diaspora, they pay those in Nigeria to teach their kids how to speak Igbo. There was a time, everybody wants to put packaging. Everybody wants to wear those foreign attires. But the time is now far changing, where people are saying we want to go back to our roots. Today, even young Igbo people want to dress in the African batik. No matter how contemporary they want to go, they put a blend of Africa. Find your voice. Find your voice. We are in an era where everything is gone digital. Unless you don't have a better strategy, you can never make anything out of that. And that is why I will always say, gifts and talents, they are not enough. You can be more gifted than I am. I might be a gifted orator, but doesn't